I would leave from my fourth grade classroom to go to lineups. And, I would leave during the day from school, and the school knew what was going on. And my teacher at the time, she knew what was going on. And it, I just felt like there was so much of my life that was interrupted, but it still wasn't good enough because no one was going to believe me anyways. And so I felt like the parts of the story that were concocted and made up, I felt uncomfortable about it. I remember walking into the courtroom and swearing on the Bible. And for me as a kid, I grew up in Missouri. The Bible was like the end all book of books. And from what I heard from my grandmother and other people, you could die when you put your hand on the Bible and you lied. And so to put my hand on the Bible in front of a courtroom, in front of a judge, this person of authority with detectives in there, but everyone, the judge and the detectives and we were together that morning. So I had already met the judge. I even met the the public defender. I met with the public defender as well. So I knew all of the players in the courtroom, including the defendant. And but I just felt uncomfortable lying on the Bible because I knew a part of that story was not true. I knew it wasn't true. And a part of me had compassion for the perpetrator because I knew that he didn't do some of those things. Yeah, I mean, even though he raped me, he frightened me. He scared me out of my body. I wasn't able to live as one within my body until I was 29 years old. It took 20 years for me to come. No, actually, it wasn't 20 years. It took until I was 35. So that took, I don't know how many years it is. 26 years. It took 26 years for me to, it took a quarter of a century for me to come back and live in my body. So that doesn't absolve him of wrongdoing, but at the same time in my heart, I knew that some of the things that they said, they weren't true. And what happened to me was good enough. It was good enough. I was hurt. I was injured, and I knew that. So a part of me felt bad about lying on someone else, even someone who was wrong and bad. And I remember after I testified, I was on stand. I was on the stand and I cried. I was being cross-examined and I just couldn't deal with all the pressure. I was crying. I wasn't answering the questions correctly. And the public defender even said, are you okay? And I said no. And one of the jurors handed me a tissue. And then she gave the box of tissues to the judge to indicate to him, like, stop. But the judge just looked over and said, okay, you're going to be all right. We're going to keep going. And they just kept going through with their questions, and I still continued to cry. And I remember that. And I remember feeling like I wasn't respected. And my parents weren't allowed in the courtroom. They were behind. My dad was at work, but my mom was in the judge's chambers waiting. And I couldn't wait to leave. And yeah, it was really interesting. And I feel like that's where that responsibility came in, because I had been taught never to lie and never to lie on this holy book. And then that all kind of flipped my world upside down after that.